Welcome back to the Ed Show. The big success of getting bin Laden has almost crowded out a few other stories out there that the Obama administration, in my opinion, should really be talking about on the campaign trail, like General Motors is now planning huge new investments in U.S. plants and adding thousands of jobs. You like the numbers? I love these numbers. General Motors announced it will invest $2 billion in 17 plants. That would be B, as in billion. This translates into 4,000 new jobs that will be created or preserved as General Motors will be retooling plants in 8 different states across the country. Now, let's just remember what Republicans were saying just 2 short years ago about the government loan to save General Motors and the auto industry from total collapse.
We can't call it a bailout because that might be too honest a statement to our citizens. So we call it a bridge loan. Actually, it's a bridge loan to nowhere.
Unless Chrysler, Ford, and General Motors become lean and innovative and competitive in the marketplace, this is only delaying their funeral.
They must reorganize, but another bailout at the taxpayer expense is not the answer.
And the people who would be paying the bill for this, the average worker in the United States, I don't think should be burdened with bailing out the auto companies that have been sick for a long time. This is not something that's going to be repaid, as opposed to the financial markets where we hope to get most of the money back.
Not going to be repaid? Senator Kyle from Arizona. How about a little character here, dude? Put out a press release tomorrow stating exactly how that money's coming back to the Treasury, because you were wrong then and you were wrong tonight. General Motors made $3.2 billion in the first quarter of this year. That's real money, and it was profitable last year. Gosh, they're hitting the jackpot, aren't they? But of course, Republicans, they were dead set against the loan. In fact, they were calling it the bailout. Here's what they said. Republican Congressman Dan Burton called it quasi-socialist. Republican Congressman Lamar Smith called it, if I can remember, the leading edge of the Obama administration's war on capitalism. Well, let's go back to the board. Since exiting bankruptcy, boy, we got some big numbers up here, don't we? GM says it has invested $3.4 billion into United States plants, amounting to 9,000 jobs. Does that sound like a war on capitalism? And I want to point out that none of the Republicans that we played in that montage of sound bites have said a word about this program, a word about the loan. No pat on the back for the workers. Let me tell you about the United Auto Workers. On average, it went from anywhere from $7,000 to $30,000 in a haircut they took to make it happen. And now the company is making money, and there's going to be bonuses paid out. Let's welcome Congressman Gary Peters of Michigan, who knows what this is all about. Congressman, tell me what kind of a success story this has become where your people are in Michigan.
Well, Ed, this is a huge success. Just a couple years ago, we were looking over a cliff into the abyss as a result of the unbridled greed on Wall Street that brought our economy to its knees. The auto industry was in tough shape. Hundreds of thousands of jobs could be lost. The president stepped up to the plate and said, I will not let the American middle class down. American workers and American companies made an investment in the auto industry, and now that investment is coming back, not only paying back the taxpayers, but as you mentioned, with real jobs. General Motors adding up to 4,000 jobs just recently. Chrysler now on track almost to have the same number of jobs they had back in 2008. We are seeing jobs being created, and not just in the big three, but all of the auto suppliers, which is an even a larger number of jobs. Those jobs would have disappeared if it wasn't for the president standing up for the American worker.
Congressman, how is it that every single Republican could be wrong on this? It wouldn't have anything to do with them wanting to see President Obama fail, would it?
Well, I think it had a lot for that to do. In fact, it shows the blindness of ideology. When you look at just ideology and not about practical problem solving, the president said, we've got a problem here, we've got to solve it, we've got a road to do it, but most importantly, we've got to put people back to work and get this economy going. Forget ideology. This is about results.
And Congressman, to your knowledge, the money is being paid back. The the loan is being paid back. Even though GM right now still has common stock, the plan is that they will divest that, correct?
Right. The Treasury will be continuing to sell that stock. There's still a percentage in there, probably this fall, although it'll depend on where the stock is and the price before that decision's made. Chrysler's on track to pay back the money early as well this summer.
So that would mean that the soundbite that I just played a moment ago of Senator Kyle, is it fair to say that he's dead wrong?
He's wrong. We are on track to get that money back, or get a large portion of that money back. But again, the important thing is we've got a healthy domestic auto industry, and with that, we have a manufacturing center. We have manufacturing industry. You could not have that without a healthy auto industry, and without manufacturing, we can't be a great country, and we can't have a great middle class.
And how much do the workers deserve credit in this deal? I mean, you know, they took a haircut. Nobody in Congress, I don't think, has taken a pay cut. Because we know how great they're all getting along, no offense. But the fact of the matter is there is a lot of Americans out there that think that the Congress isn't functioning very well. I mean, we just had a record number of filibusters by the Republicans in the last session of Congress. That's dysfunctional. They, of course, didn't take a pay cut, but these auto workers did. And to save their jobs and to make sure that there would not be a ripple effect, so there would be a multiple loss of jobs. So it was pretty lonely at the top when this decision was made. What about the workers?
Absolutely. The workers, there was shared sacrifice across the board, blue collar, white collar, the auto suppliers. A lot of folks stepped back and said, we will sacrifice because it is important to save this industry. This industry is not just about Detroit. It's not about Michigan. It is about the United States of America. It's about having a manufacturing industry in this country.
So I think there's a parallel here. I really do. I think we can make a correlation here. We have seen middle class workers in this country, to save their industry, take a pay cut.
Right.
Give in on health care, give in on retirement pension, and give in on the daily salary.
Absolutely.
Yet, to save the country, we haven't seen the Congress step up at all and say, you know what? We need a little bit of that out of the top 2% if we're going to get our Treasury in order. Do you think there's a parallel there?
When we talk about shared sacrifice, it truly has to be shared sacrifice for everybody. That means from top to bottom and everybody in between.
Shared sacrifice works. Congressman, great to have you with us tonight, and I commend you, Gary Peters. You were one of the lone voices out there in the midst of all of this. You were always willing to come on the air and talk about how we've got to do this. It was not a bailout. It's a loan. You did the job for those middle classers, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it.
You bet. The rapper Common. I mean, this guy has got Fox Newsroom. I mean, they're just twisting upside down over this deal, accusing President Obama of inviting a thug to the White House. Stay with us.